really looking forward to welcoming Curtis back to the Mike Gallagher Show. So here he is on this fateful day, a very historic day, an epic day. And Curtis, I know you got your hands full with the mayor's race, but look, what's happening in the Middle East also impacts plenty of New Yorkers. Before we start in this battle between you and the communist Mamdani and the scoundrel Andrew Cuomo, let's talk a little bit about your take and your reaction to this epic achievement by President Trump in this peace deal between Israel and Hamas.
Well, after 2 years, outstanding to bring peace to the whole region, because this also impacts not just Gaza, the Palestinians, the Israelis. This impacts the entire Middle East and the entire Persian Gulf. Sort of following up on the Abraham Accords that President Trump was able to put into place in the first term that he served the United States. So again, he has not gotten us into war. He has only pushed us towards peace, and this will benefit the whole world. Now, in terms of locally, Mike, this has a tremendous impact because this is part of the wave that Zoran Mamdani has ridden in order to beat Andrew Cuomo decisively in the Democratic primary. Because after 2 years, right after October 7th, an incredible majority of New Yorkers were siding with the Israelis against the Palestinians, upwards of 78%. And in that 2-year period of time, now the majority of New York City residents are actually sympathetic to the Palestinians and not to the Israelis. That's a complete turnaround. And so that is what has really propelled Zoran Mamdani, who on October 8th, a day after that vicious attack, the hostage taking, the rapes, the killings of the Israelis, and then Hamas returning into the Gaza, he led the first demonstration in Times Square, actually in support of what Hamas did, in support of what the Palestinians did on that unholy day. So you say to yourself, if you would have figured out, Mike, at that moment, could Zoran Mamdani go on to become the next mayor of the city of New York, you would have said there's no chance. And yet here he is, because the Democrats have forsaken us. They put up a feeble candidate in Andrew Cuomo who did not run a good race at all. In fact, he ran it from the Hamptons, and he continues not to be out there in the streets with the people. That's where the political battle is waged. You have to go into all 350 neighborhoods. You have to be on the subway every day like I am, neither of my two adversaries. And then the people will decide by November 4th, which is 22 days away, Mike.
All right, let's talk about where we are with being 22 days out. And I want to share with you a bit of a personal journey that I went on. And I don't know if this got back to you or not, but I'm the one that's going to tell you if you haven't heard, because I'm ashamed, frankly, because a few weeks ago, I was wavering a little bit on my support for my dear friend and veteran colleague, Curtis Sliwa. I'm looking at the poll numbers. Here's the New York Post, a conservative-friendly publication that today writes, or yesterday, Mamdani's at 46%, supposedly. Cuomo's at 33%. You're at 15%. Obviously, if you combine the two challengers to Mamdani, you've got a likely victory. And then I talked to a buddy of mine, Mark Davis, who you know as well out of Dallas, and he said, Mike, you got to do the right thing. You got to stand up. You don't say, well, the lesser of two evils, because evil is still evil. There is not one Curtis Sliwa policy for the people of New York that any normal person could disagree with. And so, conventional wisdom said that Hillary Clinton was going to win in 2016, too. So you got to take conventional wisdom, throw it out the window. I was ashamed of myself for even having the slightest bit of hesitation. Of course, I'm going to do the right thing and enthusiastically support you. If I still lived in New York, I'd vote for you 10 times. But that journey that I went on has got to be something that you're dealing with as well. There've got to be people who love you, who say, who know that you're Gotham's Batman. You've been fighting crime your whole life. You've got policy after policy that make economic sense, that make fiscal sense, that's going to restore safety and peace to the streets of New York. But for people who say, Curtis, come on, you gotta take it for the team. You gotta do what's right for New York. You're gonna cost us the election. Look, I got there, thank goodness. I know what the right thing is to do, but what do you say as the candidate to people who might be wavering like I did briefly a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, Mike, you see, you're not alone. They did that when Andrew Cuomo lost against Zoran Mandami, and then all of a sudden, Eric Adams was revived and resurrected, and he came back. And there was a chorus then, Curtis, you got to jump out. You got to jump out. And in reality, to drop out, why? I'm the only Republican with Republican principles. Look at what Eric Adams did. He eventually dropped out because they have paved the way for this. They have allowed the socialists into their party. It was Governor Cuomo then who actually implemented every policy that has destroyed our state and destroyed our city. No cash bail. Zoran Mandami is in agreement with that. Raise the age. Now we have teenagers doing drive-by shootings. Close our only prison. That's what Zoran Mandami wants to do. He would never have been able to actually talk about how he could do that as mayor if Governor Cuomo hadn't do it. So, Mike, that's like having the arsonist suddenly show back up after burning your house down and pretending to be the firefighter. I'm the only candidate talking about cutting taxes. That's what's causing such a tremendous flight to places that you've not only broadcast from, but live. South Carolina, Texas, Florida, Tennessee. Incredible amounts of equity and wealth have already left without there even being a mayor, Zoran Mandami. And I'm the only one saying we got to cut the income tax. We got to cut the corporate tax. The one tax I can cut is the property tax. And we have the first ever in the United States congestion pricing, which is nothing but a tax for cars coming into Manhattan. And it has been a complete catastrophe. All these small storefronts that are closing by the day, they don't have enough foot traffic. And the merchants, the men and women who hire the working class people that I represent in New York City are fleeing in droves. So my whole campaign is improve, don't move. And I completely disagree in every campaign policy position than Cuomo and Zoran Mandami. In fact, if you want to think of it this way, because people really don't know Zoran Mandami, he's very affable, he's very nice. It's like that song, Sade, Smooth Operator. He's sort of the JB to Barack Obama. He is Bill de Blasio on steroids. Bill was hated by the left, hated by the right by the time he destroyed the city after 8 years. Andrew Cuomo is constantly reinventing himself. Nobody trusts him. He's the guy who's responsible for the deaths of 15,000 elderly because of his executive orders during COVID that he refuses to apologize for. And if your listeners and viewers want to know who's Curtis Sliwa, just think of Rudy Giuliani 2.0. Mike, last week, Rudy with a broken back rose up and said, enough of this Cuomo nonsense. The only real New Yorker, the only crime fighter, the only law and order candidate is my friend Curtis Sliwa. And you know, in a city like New York, when you mention Rudy Giuliani and you say that I'm Rudy Giuliani 2.0, that resonates with a lot of people who knows how he saved this city and was the greatest mayor that we've ever had.
Well, Rudy Giuliani is 100% correct about you. It's a three-person race. It's Zoran Mandani, it's Andrew Cuomo, it's Curtis Sliwa. I predicted last week, something's got to give. I mean, something maybe has to change where Cuomo and Curtis somehow form any kind of a line. I want to just ask you that question. Is there any path for a Curtis Sliwa to say, I'm going to make Cuomo, part of my administration if I'm the nominee? Is there any way that Cuomo says I'm going to make Curtis an important part of my administration if I stay in it over the next 22 days? Any chance of anything changing other than this three-person race between now and Election Day, Curtis?
Mike, we are like two scorpions in a brandy glass, and that's all because of Cuomo. As you know, as governor, he was vengeful, he was vindictive, he believed in blood vendettas. He is a cold-hearted man. He is the reason we have so many homeless people in the streets, so many emotionally disturbed. He closed the mental health care hospitals. So every problem that plagues New York City is the result of what he did. And remember, just think of this. When President Donald Trump was being impeached, Did he pick up and flee to Mar-a-Lago? No, he stood in Washington, D.C. When he was unfairly prosecuted by Tish James and Alvin Bragg in New York City, he went into court each and every time and stood there and had to deal with the absolute insanity of the charges that were being waged against him. He never ran. He never retreated. Andrew Cuomo, when he faced impeachment by his own Democrats in Albany, fled to the Hamptons. You cannot all of a sudden pave the way for a person who has waved the white flag and who recently said if Zohran Mamdani were to win, he would flee to Florida also. That's not a leader. You need a leader to help recover this city. And that's not Andrew Cuomo. No way. Let the people decide. I have a get out the vote effort. We know Zohran Mamdani does. We've yet to see a get out the vote effort for Andrew Cuomo. That's good old fashioned retail politics, knocking on doors, making phone calls, giving out literature in the streets. And most importantly, where 6 million people traffic each and every day, the mass transportation of New York City, the subways, the buses, the express buses. Cuomo's not there. Zohran Mamdani's not there. People have referred to me as the mayor of mass transit. It's our veins and arteries. It's where the crime is. It's where the mentally ill and homeless are. And I'm the only person fit to be able to get this city back on track.
Well, I hate to personalize something like this, but I'm going to say it. There are 3 men running for mayor, and there is one good guy in this trio, and we're visiting with the one good guy in this race right now. It's the right thing to do to support Curtis enthusiastically. Sliwa for NYC.com, Sliwa for NYC.com. And this is, of course, a big national election as far as I'm concerned. People from all over the country are talking about it. Curtis, I hope you feel the prayers that you're getting from millions of people all over America. I know that lifts you up, you and your wife. I know we're pulling for you. Look, Hillary had a 93% chance of winning in 2016. So I kind of like the Curtis Sliwa chances. I appreciate you visiting with us a couple of weeks before the campaign. And look, I'm going to tell you flat out, Curtis, as we close, I'm sorry that I wavered. I'm sorry that I stumbled. I'm sorry that I started looking at the pragmatic numbers and saying, wait a minute here. You got to do the right thing. At the end of the day, you do the right thing every time, and the right thing will prevail. So my apologies, but look, I'm just glad. I'm glad you're still in it, and I'm hoping for nothing but the best for you, Curtis, on Election Day. Keep fighting the good fight.
I'm fighting for Republican principles, the only candidate to do so. We cannot sacrifice to the Democrats again. They destroyed our state, and they want to put the final nail in the coffin in our city.
Amen. Amen. Well, you're the guy that can fix it. We're pulling for you, Curtis. Do you forgive me, Curtis?
Oh, Padre, Filio, Spiritus Sanctum, I give you my blessing today. I just got to avoid the nor'easter that's coming in. I got to get in my gondola on this Christopher Columbus Day. First time they ever canceled this parade in 80 years because of coming.
I feel better already. Thank you for your blessing. God bless. See you soon. Curtis Sliwa. Curtis, you go to Sliwa for NYC.com. Sliwa, he's a real character, and he's a good guy. And he's the right direction that New York should be headed in. If they only see it, hey, maybe those with eyes that see will do the right thing.